In today's video, we're going to be discussing the total cost of sponsoring yourself. I can remember making a video and someone commented, I sponsored myself. People were asking her how and how much. We're going to be discussing all of that, what people do. If this sounds like what you're going to be interested in, then sit tight to watch from beginning to the end. I believe this video is going to help someone.
You'll be living your good life. Catch a glimpse from the outside, then you see me now, see me now, see now.
Hi beautiful people, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. If today is your first time here, my name is Stella. If you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share my videos. Click on that notification bell to get notified whenever I post any new video. And for my returning subscribers, thank you guys for the love, thank you guys for the support. Honestly, I really do appreciate. So on this channel, I talk about my life here in the UK, what is happening around me, and I share information. So if this content looks like what you're going to like, do not forget again to like, subscribe and share. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a UK healthcare assistant. I'm a Nigerian living here in the UK. So lately there's so many issues on this healthcare visa. In fact, some persons have given up, some persons are tired of applying for this job. It is funny when some persons say they have stopped sponsoring from overseas. They still sponsor, and there are some care homes that are just getting their license now. However, I am not going to judge those of you that are complaining that it is very difficult to get job from overseas. Let me talk about those of you asking me how much do people pay to sponsor themselves. Now, there are so many ways people pay. It is true that you're not allowed to pay a dime to sponsor yourself here in the UK. Yeah, it is true. So now let me share with you guys what some persons do. I could remember there was a day I made a video and this lady commented, I sponsored myself. And people were asking her, how much did it cost you? How much did you pay? Blah, blah, blah. On that comment, she said it's legit how much she sponsored herself. And that is why I'm making this video. So we're going to be discussing all of that, what she did and what some persons are doing. Now I will go on gov.uk. So now let's go to the government website. It says, when you apply for healthcare worker visa, you will need to have enough money to pay for application fee. Support yourself when you arrive in the UK. You will usually need to have at least £1,270 available or less exempt. There's some company that will tell you you're going to cover all the costs, we're going to provide this for you, accommodation, feeding, and all of that. There's some company that do that, yeah. And there's some company that will tell you, oh, you have to sort out your accommodation and all of that yourself. That is why when you're coming to the UK at the checkpoint, they'll ask you have a place to stay, because I mean nobody wants people to come and start sleeping on the road, bus station and all of that. And that is why they always encourage you, if your care provider, I mean the care company you're working for, do not provide accommodation, it is usually advised that you should book a hotel so that when you get to the airport they will not send you back. And that is why you see a lot of deportation and all of that, because you can't be coming to a country and you don't even know where you're staying. So before you enter the UK, you will need to book for your hotel so that at the checkpoint, when they ask you where are you staying, you can show them the address, the postcode and all of that, or you're staying in this hotel for 1 week, for 2 weeks until you find your, space. So it is very important to do all of that. So, and you went further saying, you will be told how much you will need to pay when you apply. Now, it says again, you will be told how much you will need to pay when you apply. Application fee. The standard application fee depends on whether you will be in the UK for up to 3 years, 247 per person. For more than 3 years, 479 per person. So now when sponsoring, you see some care home, they'll be like, oh, we're going to sponsor you for 3 years. Some will say for 5 years. It just depends. Some persons, after sponsoring you for 3 years, if you still want to work with them, they will renew your sponsorship. And some person, maybe if they don't want you, they'll be like, oh no, we're not going to renew your visa. You will have to look for another job. But most care homes renew visa. They renew your contract for another 3 years. And after that 3 years, if you want to leave, you leave. But most persons like to go for that 5 years. Me personally, I think whether 3 years or 5 years, it doesn't matter. Just accept the 3 years. If you don't like the care home, at least you know that after 3 years you leave, or in between you look for another job. So now what people do is that this fee, the employer pay for it, and you can see on the government website it say application fee. So now when people say I paid for my sponsorship, it's because they made this payment. There's some employer that will be like, oh, we don't have money to sponsor you. They have the license, but they don't want to use their money to sponsor you, or probably maybe they don't have money to sponsor, or for some reason, these days there are so many care homes and there are lots of students willing to work. So instead of them paying to sponsor you, they'll be like, why not recruit like without sponsorship? Because most of these cities, they are universities, so There are so many students that are willing to work. If this one go, more students are still coming. Like there are thousands of students coming in. So they'll be like, why should I sponsor you? So what people do, especially people that are close to their manager. Now, it's not everybody that are going to do this. Some persons, if you're close to your manager and you're so hardworking, you're the kind of person anytime they need shift covering up, be like, oh, I will cover up the shift. If they are short of staff, you're there. You know, you're helping the organization. You're doing so many things for that care home. They really need you, but they don't want to pay for the sponsorship. So what people do is that they meet the manager and be like, manager, please, can you sponsor me? And when the manager say, I cannot sponsor you, obviously the manager is not the owner of the care home. There's still Oga at the top, isn't it? Yeah. We've got Oga at the top. But if you explain to the manager, please, you love this care home, I want to keep working in this care home, I don't mind making the application fee and all of that. I don't mind paying for it. Do you get the gist now? Okay, now the manager will meet Oga at the top and tell Oga at the top that this staff is very good, is devoted, blah blah blah, is a senior healthcare assistant, is this and that. So now the Oga at the top will now say, okay, that's okay, go ahead. Now I don't want to mention any care home before people be like, oh, this care home are doing this or this care home are doing that. Mind you, this care home did not charge nothing. The only thing is that the care home now allow the staff themselves to now pay for their own application fee and everything. So that means the care home did not remove a dime from their own pocket. They are not charging you to pay them. They are only telling you to pay for your own application fee and process. Now, other care home pays for all of that, including your accommodation fee. So some care home now don't want to pay. Do you get? Because they feel like, oh, they've got so many people that are willing to work. So, but if you have been a staff for that care home for long and you think you want to keep working there, you can approach your manager and tell your manager you're willing to make all the payments yourself. You're not paying that care home to get you COS. I don't know if you understand. You're not paying the care home to give you COS. You're only paying government. You're only paying government application fee and all of that. So that means the care home are not removing dime from their own pocket. So that is when you see people comment, I sponsor myself legitly. Because I've seen it in few videos. I was like, which one is sponsor yourself legitly? So when I asked someone at work and she said, oh, this is what they do now, this is what they do now, I was like, oh, okay. Because I mean, you hear updates different places. So I was like, okay. So when you go on the government website, you see the amount and everything. So that is why the people come out and be like, I sponsored myself legitly on healthcare visa. For me personally, I feel like for you to be able to do this, you must be a very good person at work and all of that. For international recruitment, honestly, I don't know. I don't know about that if people do that. But one thing I know for sure is that the few persons that have done it here in the UK, this is what they do. Now, like I said, the care home did not charge them a dime. It's just that they paid everything themselves. Even for the saying on government website, the fee is same whether you apply from inside or outside the UK. So this fee of for 3 years, £247 per person, or more than 3 years, £479 per person. It applies for those people inside and outside the UK. So it doesn't matter whether you're inside the UK, you pay the same amount with people outside the UK. Money to support yourself, you must have at least 1,270 in your bank account to show you can support yourself in the UK. You will need to have the money available for at least 28 days in a row. Day 28 must be within 31 days of applying for your visa. You will usually need to show a proof of fund. Most of the time, UK just like to see proof of fund. Even if you're studying here in the UK, you all know that you have to show a proof of fund. For those of you studying, you show that. So they like to be sure that you can take care of yourself. They don't want you to come to the UK and start saying, oh, I cannot provide for my children, I cannot pay for accommodation. You need to have some certain amount of money, because as soon as you enter the country does not mean you start working the next day. You need to settle a bit, do one or two things before you start working. Your biometric needs to come out, DBS, so many things. It just takes some few days or weeks for you to start working, because I mean you need to settle before you start working. So that is why they expect you to have some certain amount of money in your bank account. You usually show a proof of fund. This is when you apply, unless either you have been in the UK within a valid visa for at least 12 months. Your employer can cover your costs during your first month in the UK. Your partner and children will also need to prove they have support themselves. So now, for you not to show proof of fund, you have to be in the UK, a valid visa for at least 12 months. Your employer can cover your costs during your first month in the UK. So usually some employer will be like, oh, we'll cover up expenses, we'll cover up everything. So that is what some employers do. Why some employer, like I said, It's none of your business. Sort yourself out. All we know is that you should come and work for us. So it's left for you to sort out yourself. Yeah. So that is what people do, and that is why sometimes when people tell you they sponsor themselves, like this is just what they do. They pay for everything themselves. Everything that needs paying, that government said, okay, pay for this, pay for this. Instead of the employer paying, they pay for themselves. So yes, that is what some persons now are doing. So now it's difficult to say, okay, this care home charge me. You cannot say the care home charge you. You only pay what the government asks to be paid. Do you get the gist now? So anyways, I just feel the need to make this video because I feel like this video is definitely going to help someone, and also share with you guys what is happening here in the UK, what people are doing. If you find this video informative and interesting, do not forget to do the needful. Again, like, subscribe, and share my videos. Do not forget to leave me a comment on what kind of video you want me to post this. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.